Just look at her appearance. A rat picked up from some corner of Paris wants to be a Phoenix Sterling. Are you blind to bring such a nameless swindler home to make a laughingstock of the world? Chantal Dubois' sharp, obsequious laughter cut through the opulent, stuffy space of the banquet hall at the Savoy Hotel, like shards of broken glass, where the crystal chandeliers worth a fortune seemed to be wary of the venom oozing from the corners of her bright red lips. Marcus Thorne, standing next to her, crossed his arms over his chest with the smug look of a fox that had just caught a tasty prey, his eyes glued to the large screen behind the stage, where photos of Maya Pham in her most haggard, disheveled state were being projected like a wordless indictment. In the center of that storm of gossip, Maya stood still, her gorgeous burgundy evening gown seemingly out of place on her slightly trembling body, her delicate face as pale as paper, facing hundreds of pairs of eyes focused on her, curious, contemptuous, and a little bit gloating. Beside her, Liam Sterling clenched his fists, veins bulging on his temples, his usual composure as a top CEO being tested to the limit by a despicable plot to smear the woman he realized he was starting to care about as more than just a contract partner. What a shame, technician. Check the interpreter's equipment. Excuse me, Mr. Sheikh. Liam Sterling, CEO of Sterling Global Holdings, tried to maintain his usual calm, but a flash of undisguised confusion crossed his handsome, angular face. The headset of Amir, the veteran Arabic interpreter to whom Liam had entrusted this crucial evening, suddenly made an unpleasant noise and went silent. They were in the middle of a private banquet room at Liam's lavish home in Knightsbridge, London, and the guest of honor, Sheikh Khalifa Al Hamad, a powerful Arab tycoon, was frowning, clearly displeased. Liam's multi-million-pound charity project to build schools and hospitals in a remote part of Africa was on the brink of collapse because of a silly technical glitch. At a nearby table, Marcus Thorne, the young American CEO of Thorne Innovations and Liam's arch-rival, smirked. He knew this incident was no accident. A small impact on the sound system was enough to ruin Liam's important evening. The atmosphere in the room became tense. Liam's aides were frantic, but no one dared to speak up. Sheikh Al Hamad, a man known for his strictness and professionalism, began to show signs of impatience. He had just quoted a profound ancient Arabic verse about the importance of knowledge and kindness, and now the conversation was abruptly cut off, just as Liam was about to offer a formal apology and accept his humiliating defeat. A soft, clear voice suddenly rang out from the end of the table, where his quiet fiancée was sitting. Maya Pham, the fragile-looking Asian girl whom Liam had recruited from the streets of Paris just a few weeks ago to act as a front, suddenly raised her head. Her dark eyes, usually filled with a distant sadness and wariness, now shone with an unusual confidence. She spoke, in classical Arabic, smooth and surprisingly elegant. "Your Excellency Sheikh, the verses you have just quoted have touched the depths of my soul. The pen of a scholar is more sacred than the blood of a martyr. Knowledge is the beacon that guides humanity, and kindness is the cool water that bathes the parched lives. The project that Sir Liam has in mind is the embodiment of both of these noble things." The room went silent. Liam was stunned, his mouth almost hanging open. He turned to look at Maya, unable to believe his ears. This was Maya, the girl he'd found shivering in the cold under a Parisian awning, the one he'd thought only knew a few broken English sentences to communicate Sheikh Al Hamad's look of utter surprise, gradually changed to one of admiration and amusement. The frown on his face eased, replaced by a rare smile. You speak perfect Arabic, ma'am." "Maya Pham, sir," Maya replied, still in a respectful and graceful tone. "Those verses by the poet Al-Mutanabi have always been a great source of inspiration for those who believe in the power of knowledge." Lady Beatrice Sterling, Liam's powerful aunt, who had been watching the proceedings from the head of the table with her usual cool expression, frowned in surprise. Then, a small, almost imperceptible smile crossed her lips. Chantal Dubois, the French fashion designer who had always fancied herself a prime candidate for Mrs. Sterling's position, who was also present, was stunned, her expression shifting from contempt to obvious jealousy. Maya not only translated what the sheikh said, she continued the conversation naturally, commenting thoughtfully on the culture, history, and challenges facing the project area. Her knowledge was profound, her delivery refined, capturing Sheikh Al-Hamad's full attention. The evening that seemed to have gone horribly wrong was suddenly saved in a spectacular way, thanks to the extraordinary ability of a girl that no one expected. Liam looked at Maya, his heart filled with questions and indescribable amazement. Who was this girl? 3 weeks ago? In a plush conference room at Sterling Global Holdings headquarters in the city, London, Liam Sterling is presenting a project he is passionate about. Slides of emaciated African children, dilapidated classrooms, and underfunded clinics flash across a large screen. The Light of Hope project aims to build a complex of schools, hospitals, and vocational training centers in a poor sub-Saharan region where war and poverty have devastated lives for decades. Across from him sat the board of the Sterling Family Charity, headed by Lady Beatrice Sterling, his father's maternal aunt. She was a typical English woman, with her silver hair neatly tied back, impeccably tailored clothes, and a piercing gaze that could see through any thought. The charity was a vital part of the family legacy, and Lady Beatrice had the final say in how its vast resources were allocated. This project has great potential, Liam, Lady Beatrice said after Liam finished his passionate presentation. Her voice was calm, not betraying much emotion. It fits with the Foundation's mission to bring about lasting change. However, she paused, sipping her Earl Grey tea. The main sponsor you're targeting, Sheikh Khalifa Al-Hamad, is a very traditional man. He's expressed his sympathy for the project several times, but has also hinted that he would like to see someone with a strong backing at the helm, a family man. Do you understand what I mean? Liam frowned. He understood. Sheikh Al-Hamad, a conservative Muslim tycoon, had always placed great value on family. And Lady Beatrice, though more modern, also believed that a married man represented maturity, stability, and long-term commitment. Aunt Beatrice, I don't think my personal life should interfere with such an important humanitarian project, Liam protested gently. He was extremely private about his personal relationships, and the thought of marrying just to please a partner bothered him. His work took up most of his time and attention. I'm not saying it should matter, Liam. I'm just saying it will matter. In this case, Lady Beatrice set down her teacup. You're a brilliant CEO, but in the eyes of people like Sheikh Al-Hamad, or even some of the members of this board, a man in his late 40s who is still single and has no plans to marry can be seen as unstable. I want this project to succeed, Liam. And sometimes, we have to accept side requests to achieve the greater goal. Liam sighed. He knew it was pointless to argue with Lady Beatrice. She always had her reasons, and they were often hard to refute. He needed her approval. And more importantly, the funds from Sheikh Al-Hamad. That night, Liam tossed and turned. The thought of finding a fiancé in such a short time was giving him a headache. He had no time for dating, nor was he interested in the superficiality of socializing. And then a pragmatic, Liam Sterling-esque solution came to him hire an actor. The next morning, he called Oliver Finch, his closest and most trusted assistant. Oliver, I need you to find someone. A woman who can act as my fiancé for about 3 to 6 months. Good-looking, smart enough to not cause trouble, tight-lipped, and willing to sign a non-disclosure agreement. I'll take care of the rest. Oliver, though a little surprised, still professionally acknowledged the request. I understand. Sir, are there any special criteria regarding background or education? Liam shook his head. It doesn't matter, as long as she can play the role, and the less trouble, the better. Little did he know that the trouble he wanted to avoid was about to bring him the biggest surprise of his life. A week later, Liam took a quick business trip to Paris to meet with some European partners. On his last afternoon there, after finishing his meeting early, he decided to take a walk alone around the Ile de la Cité, breathing in the old Parisian air before heading to the airport. The November weather in Paris was chilly. The wind blowing through his clothes made him shiver. As he passed a hidden corner near the Pont Neuf Bridge, Liam came across a sight that caught his eye. A young Asian woman, dressed somewhat sloppily in a frayed thin coat, her long, slightly tangled black hair falling over her shoulders. was patiently explaining something to an elderly Japanese tourist couple who looked confused and lost. What was remarkable was that the woman was speaking fluent Japanese to them, her gestures polite and her voice soft, though her lips were slightly pale from the cold. Liam stopped to watch from a distance. He didn't understand Japanese, but he could sense the dedication and intelligence in the way the girl spoke. There was something about her, a strange contrast between her tired, almost disheveled appearance and the confidence and grace in her words and gestures. After the Japanese couple thanked each other profusely and left, the girl breathed a sigh of relief, then shrank back from the cold, her eyes gazing out at the Seine River, which was beautiful but gloomy under the gray sky. She clutched her small cloth bag, the only thing that seemed to be her property. Liam, driven by curiosity, approached. "Excuse me, are you okay?" he asked in English, trying to sound friendly. Maya Pham turned, startled. Her large, dark eyes regarded him warily. She was thin, her face delicate but pale, and there were faint shadows under her eyes. "Thank you. I'm fine," she replied in English, her accent perfect but hesitant, as if she hadn't used it in a long time. "I see you speak Japanese very well. Are you Japanese?" Liam asked. Maya shook her head slightly. "No, I'm Vietnamese. I only know a little Japanese." A little. Liam raised an eyebrow. He had heard enough to know it wasn't a little. He peered closer into her duffel bag, seeing the corner of an old book sticking out, the cover in French. A sudden thought flashed through Liam's mind. This girl, could it be? He pulled out his wallet and took out a 50-euro note. "It's cold. Take this and buy yourself something warm." Maya looked at the money, then at Liam, her eyes flashing with hurt. "Thank you for your kindness, but I don't need it," she said, her voice firmer. "I'm just waiting for a friend." Liam knew she was lying. No one was waiting for her, but he respected her dignity. He pulled a business card from his wallet. "I'm Liam Sterling. If you change your mind or need any help, call me." Maya hesitantly took the card, her eyes still filled with doubt. Liam nodded and left, thinking about that strange girl. The next day, back in London, Liam couldn't get Maya out of his mind. He called Oliver. "Oliver, I want you to find out about a woman I met in Paris. Her name might be Maya. She's Vietnamese. She speaks Japanese and French. I don't have much information, but do your best." Oliver, with his network and resources, found Maya within a day. Her situation was even worse than Liam had imagined. Maya Pham, 28, had been an excellent international student majoring in international relations at the Sorbonne in Paris. Her parents in Vietnam had been in a serious traffic accident a few years earlier, and the family was wiped out by medical expenses. Maya, who was working part-time as a translator and language teacher, had been scammed by a close friend and business partner who had taken all her savings and a loan she had intended to send home to help her family. Worse still, the man had falsely accused her of being involved in a minor paper fraud, which brought her to the attention of the French police. Having lost all her money, her identity papers almost expired, and fearing arrest and deportation while unable to prove her innocence. Maya has had to live a vagrant life, hiding in the heart of glamorous Paris for nearly a year, trying to survive with odd, unofficial jobs and the kindness of a few passers-by. Liam listened to Oliver's report with a heavy heart. He was not an emotional man, but Maya's story had touched a dark place in him. Such a talent had suffered such a cruel fate. He decided to return to Paris immediately. This time, Liam found Maya huddled on a bench in the Jardin de Luxembourg, clutching a piece of dry bread. She looked even more haggard than before. He sat down next to her, saying nothing for a moment. Then he spoke, his voice serious. "Maya, I know about your situation." Maya jumped, her eyes wide with panic. Who are you? Are you following me?" "I mean no harm," Liam assured her. "I have an offer that could change your life, and help mine too. But it's unusual, and you have every right to refuse." He explained that he needed a fake fiancée for a few months, about the charity project, about the pressure from his family and his partner. He promised to provide her with comfortable accommodation in London, all living expenses, a large sum of money at the end of the contract, $70,000. And most importantly, that he would use all his resources to help her clear her legal troubles, get her papers back, and have a fresh start. Maya listened, her face expressionless, but her eyes were torn with conflict. The offer was like a lifeline thrown into an ocean of despair, but her instincts, honed through months of hardship, kept her from believing that good things would come too easily. "Why me?" she asked hoarsely. "You could have found someone else. Because I see intelligence, strength, and dignity in you, even in the worst of circumstances," Liam said sincerely. "And I believe you can play this role convincingly. Plus, I think we can help each other." That night, Maya didn't sleep. She sat huddled in the dark corner of an abandoned bus station, Liam's business card clutched in her hand. His offer echoed in her head. A chance to escape this life, to start over, to help her family back home. But what was the payoff? Freedom, entering an unfamiliar world, playing a role with a man she didn't know. The next morning, as dawn broke over Paris, Maya dialed the number on the business card. Her voice was still weak but firm. "Mr. Sterling, I accept your offer, but I have conditions. Absolutely keep my past a secret. Do not engage in any behavior that goes beyond the limits of a contract, and I reserve the right to leave at any time if I feel unsafe or unable to continue. I agree to all your terms. Maya," Liam replied from the other end of the line. A vague sense of relief washed over him. His play had found its heroine. Just 2 days after that fateful phone call, Maya Pham was in London. The first-class flight, the luxury Bentley, all seemed like a distant dream compared to the life she had just experienced. Liam Sterling kept his word. She was taken to a grand old mansion in Mayfair, one of London's most exclusive neighborhoods. This was not Liam's own home, but a luxury serviced apartment owned by the Sterling Group, specially prepared for her. Liam said this would ensure privacy and comfort for both of them. Just as Maya had requested, the apartment was spacious, elegantly decorated with expensive furniture and exquisite works of art. There was a private maid, a private chef, a wardrobe full of designer clothes from famous fashion houses such as Chanel, Dior. Burberry had been prepared according to Oliver's discreet measurements. The transformation began. London's top hairstylists, makeup artists, and stylists were called in. They worked with Maya professionally, transforming her from a skinny, pale girl with disheveled hair into an elegant, seductive young woman. Maya's hidden beauty, with her delicate Asian features, big black eyes, and smooth though somewhat lifeless white skin, was quickly enhanced. Maya learned quickly. She absorbed the rules of British society, how to walk, how to speak, how to use cutlery at fancy parties. She was like a sponge, soaking up all the new knowledge. But despite her changed appearance, there was still a distance in her eyes, a cautious shell. She always kept a certain distance from Liam, exchanging only the information necessary for the role. Liam, despite being busy with work, still occasionally stopped by to check on the progress. He couldn't help but admit that Maya looked really impressive after being touched up. There was an intelligent beauty, a certain mystery emanating from her that made others curious. He told himself that he had chosen the right person. He considered this purely a deal, a purposeful investment. He provided her with the best material conditions. In return, she had to excellently complete the role of perfect fiancée. In the early days, Maya felt lost in this luxury. Sometimes, she woke up in the middle of the night, thinking she was still huddled in a corner of Paris. But then she reminded herself of why she was there, of the opportunity she could not afford to lose. She had to be strong, to adapt, for her own future and for her family. Maya's first official appearance as Liam Sterling's fiancée is an intimate tea party at Lady Beatrice's historic estate in the Kent countryside. The idyllic setting of beautiful English gardens does nothing to ease Maya's nerves. She knows this is an important test. Lady Beatrice, in a moss-green silk dress and heirloom pearl necklace, greeted them with a courteous but somewhat distant air. Her keen eyes scanned Maya from head to toe, as if appraising a precious antique. Liam had prepared a pretty perfect resume for Maya, the daughter of a Vietnamese intellectual family who had lived and worked in France for a long time, graduated in comparative literature at the prestigious Sorbonne University, met Liam at a cultural conference in Paris. During the tea party, Lady Beatrice asked countless questions, seemingly random but full of hidden meaning. She asked about Maya's family in France, about her years studying at the Sorbonne, about her favorite French authors, about her views on the role of women in modern society. Maya, with her natural intelligence and the training she had received from Liam, responded fluently and confidently. She not only answered questions, but also made subtle comments and in-depth analyses of French literature and culture, causing Lady Beatrice to raise her eyebrows in surprise many times. In particular, when Lady Beatrice mentioned Marcel Proust, Maya was able to quote a passage in French from Remembrance of Lost Time accurately and emotionally, talking about the meaning of memory and the passage of time. Liam sat beside him, both proud and a little worried. He had not expected Maya to be able to improvise so well. Her French, which he had only taught her a few basic polite phrases about, was so profound. Lady Beatrice did not offer any direct compliments. She maintained her cool, aristocratic demeanor. But when the tea party ended, as she escorted Liam and Maya to the door, she said to Liam in a low voice, loud enough for him to hear, "This girl is more interesting than I thought." Liam. Deep down, Lady Beatrice began to have a certain curiosity and respect for the intelligence and bravery of this mysterious Asian girl. However, she was still not completely convinced. There were still too many unknowns about Maya Pham. After her successful debut with Lady Beatrice, Maya began appearing with Liam at important events of London's high society art exhibition openings, musical nights in the West End, lavish charity parties. She quickly became the subject of gossip and curious eyes. Liam Sterling's mystery fiancée was the talk of salons and intimate clubs. Some admired her elegance and intelligence, but many were jealous and prying, especially Chantal Dubois. Chantal, a French fashion designer with blonde hair and a cocky demeanor, has always considered herself the most suitable woman to be with Liam Sterling. She cannot accept Liam's sudden engagement to an Asian nobody. At a party at the French embassy, Chantal deliberately approached Maya while she was standing alone. "Hello, Ms. Pham," Chantal said in French, her tone sarcastic. "It's surprising that someone like you could catch Liam's eye. You must have some special talent that we don't know about." Maya, though clearly aware of the provocation in Chantal's words, remained calm. She replied in precise French, her voice soft but no less sharp. "Ms. Dubois, I think a person's greatest talent is to be themselves and to be respected for that. As for whether I catch the eye of anyone, perhaps that is our private matter." Chantal was angry at Maya's clever response, but there was nothing she could do in front of so many people. She turned away, her eyes full of hatred, silently cursing that she would find a way to expose this Asian girl. Liam, although not directly witnessing the confrontation, also felt the pressure Maya was under. He often had to play the role of a thoughtful lover, speaking up to defend Maya against innuendos, even if it was just a social act to protect his charity project and his image. Those actions, intentionally or unintentionally, made Chantal even more jealous and determined to sabotage. Maya endured it all silently. She knew it was part of the contract, but sometimes she felt tired of the pretense. The masks she and Liam had to wear every day. She missed the free days in Paris, even though she was poor. At least she could be herself. The Sterling Family Foundation is hosting a major classical concert at the Royal Albert Hall to raise funds for upcoming projects, including Liam's Light of Hope project. Maya, in a stunning emerald green gown, sits next to Liam in the VIP section. The program was solemn and impressive with music by Mozart and Beethoven performed by the Royal Symphony Orchestra. But the biggest surprise for Maya came from a special guest performance. A famous Vietnamese artist appeared on stage with a traditional zither. When the first notes of the folk song sounded, melodious and passionate, Maya's heart tightened. The familiar melody from her childhood, images of her homeland, of her parents, suddenly flooded her mind. She unconsciously hummed along with the music, very softly, but loud enough for Liam sitting next to her to hear. He turned to look at her, and for the first time, he saw in Maya's black eyes a deep sadness, a weakness that she always tried to hide. Tears silently rolled down her delicate cheeks. Liam said nothing. He just gently placed his hand on Maya's, a gentle, almost unconscious gesture of comfort. In that moment, there were no cameras, no curious eyes, just two people, each with their own worries, but feeling a strange harmony. After the concert, on the way back to the mansion, Maya remained silent. Liam broke the silence first. That song has a special meaning to you, right? He used the word you naturally, no longer the distant she like before. Maya nodded, her voice a little hoarse. It's a song my mother used to sing to me when I was little. It's been a long time since I've heard it. Liam did not ask further. He understood that there were wounds in his heart that were not easy to share. But the image of Maya silently crying while listening to the sound of her zither was deeply engraved in his mind. This girl not only was smart and strong, but also had a sensitive soul and a past full of sorrows. He began to feel that this deal was perhaps no longer just a deal. And then that fateful evening came, an intimate dinner party at Liam's residence to finalize the terms of the Light of Hope project with Sheikh Khalifa Al-Hamad. It was here that the secret curtain on Maya Fam's extraordinary ability was completely lifted, causing a huge shock not only to Liam but also to everyone present. When the interpreter's headset malfunctioned and Maya suddenly spoke classical Arabic, everyone in the room was stunned. Liam, who was closest to her, felt a jolt of electricity run down his spine. He had never, not even for a moment, imagined this. Maya did not simply translate mechanically. She guided the conversation with skill and sophistication, demonstrating a deep understanding of Islamic culture, Arabic poetry, and the complex political and social issues of the Middle East. She quoted Muslim thinkers, commented on Arabic artwork, and even discussed culturally appropriate educational approaches to the local context in which the project would be implemented. Sheikh Al-Hamad, a man known for his strictness and erudition, was completely won over. He kept asking difficult questions, challenging Maya's knowledge, and she answered intelligently and convincingly. The Sheikh's satisfied smile and admiring gaze towards Maya was something Liam had never seen him give to any of his partners before. "Ms. Pham," said the Sheikh, his voice full of sympathy, "your knowledge of our culture is astonishing. Where did you learn Arabic?" Maya smiled modestly. "Sir, I have been fortunate to learn from great teachers and have a great passion for different cultures. Arabic, with its richness and beauty, has always been an endless source of inspiration for me." At the end of the party, when the atmosphere had become extremely intimate, Sheikh Al-Hamad, with a hint of mischief, suddenly said a sentence in Swahili, a language common in many East African countries, including the area where Liam's project will be deployed. "Asante sana kwa jioni nzuri kama hii. Bibi Maya." Thank you very much for such a wonderful evening. Miss Maya. Everyone thought it was just a polite greeting in the local language. But Maya, without hesitation, smiled and replied in fluent Swahili, "Karibu sana, Mheshimiwa Sheikh, ni furaha yangu." It was my pleasure. Your Excellency Sheikh, it was my pleasure. This time, not only Liam and Lady Beatrice, but even Sheikh's assistants were surprised. Arabic was already a big surprise. Now Swahili was added. How many more secrets was this little Asian girl hiding? The evening ended with a success that exceeded all expectations. Sheikh Al-Hamad not only agreed to provide all the necessary funding for the Light of Hope project, but also asked Maya Pham to join the project's cultural advisory board. When the last guests had left, Liam and Maya stood alone in the large living room. Silence reigned, but the atmosphere was no longer awkward, but one of indescribable surprise and curiosity. Liam looked at Maya, the woman he thought he had hired, now appearing like a giant unknown. "Maya," Liam said, his voice still trembling with surprise. Who are you? How can you, all that Arabic, Swahili, the Japanese I saw in Paris, and the French at Aunt Beatrice's house?" His head felt dizzy. The woman standing before him, whom he had once considered a tool to achieve his goals, now possessed extraordinary talents that he could not explain. Maya looked down, her hands clenching slightly. She knew it was time to tell part of the truth. Silence and concealment were no longer meaningful. She hesitated. I was a student of international relations and linguistics at the Sorbonne in Paris. I have had a great passion for languages since I was a child. She told Liam about her years of hard work, the scholarships she won, her dream of working for international organizations, using her language skills to bridge cultures. She talked about how she had taught herself Japanese, Arabic, Swahili, and several other languages through books, online courses, and international friends. But when Liam asked her why someone so talented ended up living on the streets of Paris, Maya's voice trailed off. She spoke vaguely of a major family crisis and the betrayal of a close friend that had cost her everything: money, papers, and trust. She didn't go into detail about the scam or the unjust legal trouble. The pain and shame still too great. Liam listened. Not a word of interruption. The more he listened, the more he felt shock, then admiration, and finally a deep sense of guilt. He had underestimated her, had only seen her appearance and temporary circumstances, and failed to recognize the precious gem hidden within. He felt ashamed of his initial pragmatic thoughts. "Maya," he said when she finished, his voice sincere, I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not realizing sooner. For treating you like you were part of a plan." Maya shook her head slightly. "It's okay, Liam. You gave me a chance when I was at my most desperate. I'm grateful for that. But you deserve more," Liam said, his eyes full of respect. "Someone as talented as you shouldn't be buried. I'll help you. Maya, I promise. I'll help you get back everything you lost. And more." That night, a major change took place in their relationship. The icy wall of the contract began to melt. Respect and admiration arose, giving way to deeper emotions that neither dared to name. In the days after the fateful party, the atmosphere between Liam and Maya changed dramatically. Liam no longer treated Maya as an employee or an actor. He truly respected her intelligence, knowledge, and extraordinary willpower. He often asked her for advice on issues related to the Light of Hope project, especially cultural and linguistic aspects. They began to have real conversations, not just about work. Maya, sensing Liam's sincerity, gradually opened up. She shared about her favorite books, about the lands she dreamed of visiting, about her thoughts about the world. Liam was surprised to discover that Maya's extensive knowledge was not limited to languages, but also about history, philosophy, and art. She was like a living library, and every day he discovered a new shelf full of interesting things. One evening, while Liam was agonizing over a preliminary contract from a potential German partner with complex legal terms written in German, Maya happened to pass by his office. Seeing his frown, she asked curiously. Liam, out of new habit, showed it to her. Maya read it carefully, then pointed to a passage. "Here," she said. The use of the word unverzüglich immediately, without delay here, could work against us in the event of an unforeseen event. It would be better to replace it with a more flexible term, such as innerhalb einer angemessenen Frist, within a reasonable period of time. Liam was stunned. He knew Maya was fluent in many languages, but German, you speak German too. Maya smiled slightly. Just a little, enough to read technical literature. I learned it when I was at the Sorbonne, because there are many important reference materials in German. Liam shook his head in admiration. This girl really had no limits. The 5 major languages he already knew: Vietnamese, Japanese, French, Arabic, Swahili plus English, and now German. Liam's admiration for Maya grew. And with that admiration came other feelings. Feelings he had long tried to suppress. He found himself liking being near her, liking hearing her voice, liking seeing the intelligent light in her eyes. For Maya, Liam's sincerity and respect touched her as well. For the first time in a long time, she felt seen for who she was, not through the lens of pity or suspicion. She began to see the real Liam behind the cold, decisive CEO exterior, a warm-hearted, idealistic, and responsible man. However, both of them are aware that the contract is still there. And the past hurts make Maya still hesitant, not daring to fully open her heart. The love that blossoms between them is beautiful, but also fragile, like a flower that has just bloomed after a storm. Marcus Thorne was not about to accept defeat easily. The fact that Liam had not only survived the humiliation, but also won the full support of Sheikh Al-Hamad thanks to his mysterious fiancée made him even more furious. He ordered his men to dig deeper into Maya Pham's past, especially the time she lived on the streets of Paris. He was sure that there must be some scandal big enough to bring down both Maya and Liam. Meanwhile, Chantal Dubois, haunted by jealousy, also constantly tried to make things difficult for Maya. She deliberately approached Maya at events, dropping insinuations and sarcastic comments about her uncertain origin. Once, Chantal blocked Maya in the ladies' room at a party. "Ms. Pham," Chantal said, her voice artificially sweet, "I really admire your ability to climb, from being unknown to now becoming Mrs. Sterling, but I wonder, at what cost does Liam know all about your glorious past in Paris?" Maya looked straight into Chantal's eyes, unafraid. "My past, whatever it was, is mine, Ms. Dubois, and I don't think it has anything to do with you. As for my relationship with Liam, that's between us." "Oh, don't get too confident. Dear," Chantal sneered, "it's a small world, and secrets can't be kept hidden forever. Just wait and see." Maya felt a vague sense of unease. She knew Chantal and Marcus Thorne wouldn't give up. The ghosts of the past, the one she had always tried to run away from, seemed to be slowly coming back to haunt her. She feared, not only for herself, but also for Liam and the project he was passionate about. Would their newly formed relationship be strong enough to weather the storms ahead? The Sterling Foundation's annual charity gala took place at the magnificent Savoy Hotel, attracting a large crowd of high society, businessmen and philanthropists from all over the world. It was also an occasion to officially announce the Light of Hope project and honor major donors, including Sheikh Al-Hamad. Maya, in a luxurious burgundy evening gown that Liam had personally chosen, walked beside him. She was much more confident than the first few days, but she still couldn't help but feel a little nervous. Chantal Dubois and Marcus Thorne's eyes from the corner of the room were like invisible knives aimed at her. And then, what she feared most happened. As Liam finished his speech thanking the donors, the big screen behind the stage suddenly changed. Instead of images of the project, there were candid shots of Maya, looking disheveled and exhausted while living on the streets of Paris. This was followed by a short, blurry video of her arguing with some man, accompanied by a malicious voiceover from Marcus Thorne played over the speakers. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is the true face of talented fiancée Maya Pham, a homeless person, an international fraudster being hunted by the French police for shady activities. Does such a person deserve to stand next to Liam Sterling? Does he deserve to be honored at such a noble event? The room fell silent, then erupted in a murmur of surprise and shock. All eyes turned to Maya, who stood frozen on stage, her face pale. Chantal Dubois smiled triumphantly. Marcus Thorne, in the distance, smirked smugly. Maya's heart stopped. Shame, humiliation, and anger overwhelmed her. But then, she took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. She would not break. She would not let those people gloat. Before Liam could react, Maya stepped forward and took the microphone from him. Her voice was a little shaky, but clear and resolute. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, looking straight into the crowd. "The images you just saw are me. I do not deny my past. Yes, I was homeless. I struggled to survive on the streets of Paris. That is the truth." The whispering stopped. Everyone held their breath and listened. "But," Maya continued, her voice growing stronger, "I am not a fraud. I was the victim of betrayal and slander. I lost everything, but I never lost my dignity and self-respect. I worked hard, I learned constantly, and I always tried to live honestly, even in the most difficult circumstances." She raised her head high, her eyes shining with determination. "Our origins do not define who we are. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our choices, our actions, and our determination to rise up that make us who we are. I am proud of who I am today, proud of what I have overcome, and I will not allow anyone to use my past to trample on my present and future. Maya's sincere, powerful words were like a stream of cool water, soothing the tense atmosphere. Many in the audience, who had experienced hardship or had compassion, began to feel admiration and empathy for her. As soon as Maya finished speaking, Liam, without hesitation, stepped forward, grabbed her hand, and raised it high in front of the entire audience. His eyes looking at Maya were filled with pride, love, and absolute trust. "Ladies and gentlemen," Liam said, his voice strong and clear, "the woman standing next to me, Maya Pham, is my fiancée, and I have complete faith in her. I am proud of her. Her past, as difficult as it may be, only makes her stronger and more admirable." He turned to look at Marcus Thorne and Chantal Dubois with cold, contemptuous eyes. "As for those who are despicable, who use dirty tricks to try to bring others down, they will never achieve their goals. The truth will always prevail." He squeezed Maya's hand gently. "It is thanks to Maya's extraordinary intelligence, talent, and cultural understanding that our Light of Hope project has received invaluable support from His Highness Sheikh Al-Hamad and many other benefactors. She is not only my fiancée, she is also a partner, a friend, and a great inspiration to me." Liam's actions and words were like a bucket of cold water thrown in Marcus Thorne and Chantal Dubois' faces. They were completely humiliated in front of the entire audience. Sheikh Al-Hamad, from the front row, stood up and applauded, followed by more applause that echoed throughout the auditorium. Lady Beatrice looked at her nephew and future granddaughter-in-law with a smile of genuine pride and satisfaction. After the gala, when it was just the two of them in the private room, Liam pulled Maya into his arms and hugged her tightly. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice filled with concern. Maya shook her head, smiling through her tears. "I'm fine. Thank you, Liam. Thank you for believing in me, for standing by me. I will always be there for you." "Maya," Liam said, looking deep into her eyes, I love you. I love you for who you are. For your intelligence, your strength, your kindness, and the hurt you've been through. That contract. Forget it. I want you to be my wife. For real. Forever." Maya's heart fluttered. "I love you too. Liam," she whispered, her voice breaking. "You showed me that there is still good in this world, that there is still love and trust." They gave each other a passionate, intense kiss, a kiss that erased all doubts, all barriers, affirming that love had conquered all. In the days following the gala, with the fierce involvement of Sterling Global Holdings' top legal team, the truth about the fraud that Maya fell victim to in Paris gradually came to light. Although the treacherous best friend and his accomplices could not be arrested immediately because they had already fled, their reputations were completely ruined, and other illegal business activities were also exposed. More importantly, Maya was completely cleared before French law. Her name was removed from the watch list. She was able to travel freely rebuild her life. The Light of Hope project was implemented smoothly and effectively. Maya, with her knowledge and language skills, played a vital role in coordinating field activities, connecting with local people, ensuring that education and health programs were implemented in a culturally appropriate manner. She found true joy and meaning in this work. Marcus Thorne, after his dirty plot failed, paid a heavy price. His reputation in the business world plummeted. Many partners turned their backs. Major contracts were canceled. His company was in trouble. Chantal Dubois also became an outcast in the upper class. No one wanted to associate with a petty and scheming woman. Maya, with Liam's support and encouragement, decided to start her own small NGO, which provides language and cultural consultancy for international development projects, and supports immigrants and refugees who struggle with language barriers. She wanted to use her talents to help disadvantaged people who had gone through the same situation as her. A year later, on a beautiful spring day in London, the sun shining brightly on the poetic Thames River, Liam Sterling and Maya Pham got married. Not a lavish, ostentatious party, but a cozy, intimate ceremony in a historic garden overlooking the river, with the presence of Lady Beatrice, Sheikh Al-Hamad, Oliver, family, and closest friends from all over the world, Maya, in a pure white Vietnamese áo dai designed by a talented young Vietnamese designer she helped make, looked radiant and happy. Liam, in a smart suit, never took his eyes off her for a second, a smile on his lips. They exchanged vows, not with empty flowery words, but with sincere promises from the heart, promising to share together, overcome all difficulties together, and build a better future together, not only for themselves, but also for the whole community. After their wedding, Liam and Maya continued to contribute to the Light of Hope project and many other charitable activities. They became an inspirational couple, proving that true love can blossom from the most difficult circumstances, and that a person's true value lies in their intelligence, dignity, and extraordinary willpower, not in their birth or social status. The story of the multilingual homeless girl and the cold CEO had a happy ending. Not only the happiness of the couple, but also the victory of justice, kindness, and belief in the miracles in life. Together, they wrote a beautiful love song, where the language of the heart is the most powerful and meaningful language. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this story. If you love this story, don't forget to click like to support the channel. Share this story with family and friends, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any stories.